Welcome, everybody, to the March 4th, 2025 Amherst County Service Authority meeting. Let the record reflect it's March 4th at 1:30 p.m. The first order of business is the approval of the agenda. Are there any additions, deletions, or changes that need to be made? If not, I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the agenda. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The first matter of business is citizen comments or concerns. I do see some people in the audience today. If you all would like to address the board at this time.
None have signed up to speak.
Okay, all right.
They're here for the next order of business.
Oh, I've got you, okay. All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and close citizen comments and move on to employee recognitions. Mr. Castillo, if you could, come up to the podium.
This gives me great pleasure here to recognize one of our team members. Mr. William David, he goes by David, Fitra, please come on forward. We're recognizing David for 35 years of service to the Amherst County Service Authority. David started as a trainee, and he has worked his way through all the licensures and through becoming a shift supervisor for us at the water plant. And has been working with our safety program. We're trying to get it up and going. So this is what our certificate reads. This award is presented to William David Fitro. Throughout the past 35 years, you have demonstrated loyalty, professionalism, and made remarkable contributions to our team. Your hard work, passion, and expertise have played a pivotal role in the success of Amherst County Service Authority, and we thank you. The 26th day of February was his 35th anniversary.
Wow.
You are noted.
Would-
Just saying thank you very much for all the hard work. Thank you.
Yeah, 35 years, that's a lifetime, a working lifetime. We appreciate your dedication to the Service Authority, staying and sticking with us throughout the years, and we commend you for your hard work and your excellence. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Think about how many people, is this on? It is now. All right. Think about how many people you've affected by making sure that they've got clean, fresh drinking water on a daily basis. That's impacted thousands of people over the course of your career. That's such important work. Thank you so much for your commitment.
Absolutely. So thank you for your years of service. I take it this isn't retirement, I hope. Good.
Oh, you got to train everybody.
Yeah.
She won't let him.
I echo my, okay. Yeah, thank you so much for your work and your commitment.
Thank you very much.
I need to get that handshake in this photo, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah, thanks
Excellent.
again.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate both of you coming.
All right. So there's nothing else we need to do? Okay. All right, next we have the consent agenda. Are there any questions regarding the draft minutes or the financial report?
Yeah.
Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve. I'm going to abstain.
Okay. So there's a motion to approve. Mr. Parrow will abstain. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next, we have action item, ACSA Infrastructure Master Plan 2025. Mr. Castillo?
Yes, on the 21st of January, a draft report was presented to this board. From those comments, the final report has been completed. And I was hoping to have it at the last board meeting for you. I've sent you the link to that. They're still killing trees right now, putting that together. So if you have any problems receiving that report, please let me know. Pannoni has assured me that that link would stay live for a while. A couple things I'd like for the board to consider approving is the level of service objectives, which was at the beginning of that report, for our drinking water and for our wastewater system. And these are objectives. This is where I think we should try to strive for, knowing that we're not there and that it's going to take time and money to move us into that position. But these, if we can work towards these objectives, we will be preparing the authority for the future and for all of our future customers as well. Are there any questions regarding those levels of service objectives? And I believe, I need to also state, that our infrastructure master plan, including this level of service objectives, is a living document. Periodically, we will be reviewing these, to see if they still make sense, or are they or the objectives are just impossible for us to obtain just because of our financial wherewithal or anything like that. So, while from my perspective, this gives us a target to shoot for. And that's what I'm looking for board approval on.
Are there any questions?
Can I make a comment?
Go ahead, comment, questions.
Thank you. Once again, I think this is an excellent next step in the process of the authority maturing as an organization and as a system to effectively and efficiently deliver clean water and to clean up the water that's returned to us. This is an expansive list, but it's a mark on the wall. It's something that we can compare ourselves to. It would be interesting to see over time, and as you go back and review this, are we meeting these or not? And to determine which ones that we are meeting, which ones we aren't, so that we know how we're doing on the wall. And also we can compare if we're falling, if we're meeting one year, but we're not meeting it the next year, that's going to be informative. But if we're knocking items off the list, that'll be informative as well. And it'd be a good way to tell how we're doing against a benchmark that we set. So I'd encourage that if there's a way that you can come up to make this, do some benchmarking internally in the organization, so this can be an annual review about how we're doing as an organization. I think the idea to review it periodically is a good idea. And as we discussed, this is kind of the map that lays out how we're going to get from where we are now to where we are. We may be on the road, we may be veering off the road a little bit, but this is how we get back onto the road. But we as a board get to choose the exact path we're taking, whether or not we want to fund a project moving forward or whether we can afford to fund a project. Right. But we're going to know what impact that has to our minimum objectives. Is that a correct understanding?
That is a very correct understanding.
Okay. I think this is a really good step going forward. I defer for any other questions or commentary.
Yeah, I agree with my colleague. I think this is a great step forward. I appreciate all the work that's gone into it. I especially like the CIP proposals and how it outlines the projects. So it is definitely we know the kind of things we need to be looking at in the future as funding is available. So, yeah, I fully support it and appreciate all the work that you've done on it.
Thank you. That's a great team putting it together.
Yeah, like my two colleagues said, certainly there was a lot of work that went into this. Panini and Associates, everyone associated with the Service Authority, or anyone involved in it. I know that it took you all a lot of time away from your normal duties, so we appreciate that. So I see we have a recommendation to approve the infrastructure master plan, but you also want to incorporate in the motion that we will put these objectives in there as a living.
Yes, these objectives are included within the master
Okay.
plan.
All right, but as you said, it is a living document that can change
Yes.
depending upon circumstances
And financing and,
and financing
yeah,
and,
if
Or something-
if Amherst County is choosing to go in a different direction, we will need to change some of our directions with
Yeah,
it.
you don't want to be rigid.
Yes.
Matt, would it be correct to say this is an intent, but not a commitment?
These are objectives that we will be striving for if it's doable. If it's not doable, then we will all be at the same place, recognizing what our hurdles would be to make things work.
But when we fund it, that's the commitment.
That's the commitment,
Okay.
yes. And then the second part of my report to you is taking the long list of capital projects that were in here and taking what I think are the top priorities and how we can fund getting them started. Actually, this current fiscal year, we had budgeted $1.5 million, a little bit change, for projects that we knew would be coming out of this. To be able to spend all of that at one time, it's just not feasible anyways. So what I'm trying to do is get as many of these projects started as we can, to the point where we know what the costs are gonna be, where it is full design, that sort of thing. What our costs for obtaining easements, if we need to obtain easements, all those things. From my perspective, number one priority is to make sure that the heart of the system is functioning like it should, which is why number one project is repair to raw water pump stations and treatment plant. It's $70,000. I mean, in the grand scheme, it's not a lot of money, but it is essential to get done. Then the second is we have
You want me to go ahead and stop you and let us make the motion to do the master plan, and you can continue
Okay.
on the second part of that?
Sure.
All right, Board, I make a motion that the ACSA Board approve and adopt the 2025 ACSA Infrastructure Master Plan as provided and presented by Panini and Associates. All in favor, please. Are there any questions? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Carry on, I'm sorry.
Is it Panini or Panoni?
Pinoni.
Panoni, oh,
Thinking about lunch.
You're hungry,
I
aren't you?
must be thinking about it.
Okay. Now, within that master plan, there was all of the projects that will need to be some need to be funded sooner than later. I'm trying to make sure that projects that deal with the heart of our system, the water treatment plant, our main artery going down Route 130, that is a single artery. We need to make sure we have some redundancy on that. That's the parallel feeder project. Williams Creek Sewer Pump Station, that is our main way to get wastewater treated. There's some needs within the existing system. And after our past experiences with these most recent storms, there is a need for a generator down there. But we had positioned ourselves to be able to go after FEMA grant funds to take care of that. Abbott Sewer Pumping Station is the next one on the list. During the early January storm, we didn't lose power there. We lost power briefly, but a tree came down and destroyed the pole, and we had live wires on the ground. AEP came and saw that without telling us and turned it off and threw the wires into the bushes. And so we had to struggle to get it back up temporarily operational. We need to put the permanent structure in. All of our pumping stations, the electrical components sit out in the environment. So if you're down there working on a sewer pump station, usually in a storm, you're working with live electricity. It needs to be in a covered shelter of some sort, basically like a run-in shed or something like that, which is what I've done in many other communities. They're not that expensive. Getting other generators for all of our pumping stations, again, going after the FEMA grant funds for that. The automated metering infrastructure project, that's one of our biggest projects. Cost estimates came from various sources. I utilized data from the town of Amherst, the town of Alta Vista, and their pricing was very comparable. So I've then extrapolated out to our quantity. Hopefully we'll get some quantity discount, but that's where I came up with that. Going after VDH funding for that. As we serve disadvantaged communities, we are eligible for principal forgiveness if it's available. So I'll be coming to you with authorization to apply for that funding. The Ivanhoe and Westbury treatment plants, there's some work needs to be done on the actual shell of those facilities. Our GIS program, we're working on that. We're using our LEAP funding for that. So that's moving forward. The operation centers within our goals and objectives that you approved previously. Begin obtaining a site, getting some site designs, site plans, go through that process this year. Then begin looking at the right shop tank pressure zone, begin some of the engineering that we need to get a pumping station to boost the pressures in that area. So all total for this current FY '25, that list totals $1 million out of the budget of $1,509,968. So we have the funding available for that.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, by all means.
All right, so everything that, each item where it says funding source is the current ACSA FY 2025 budget.
Yes.
You add those up, that comes up to right at $1 million.
Exactly $1 million.
And that's already budgeted for this year.
Correct.
Okay.
It's under what is budgeted for this year.
So, right, you've got, there's another $500,000 this budget, I'm assuming that's allocated to other needs. I am good with absolutely everything. I would like to exercise, or to ask you to exercise a little bit of caution around the operations center location and so forth. I think that this board may have an interest in where that's going from a land use perspective, future development perspective, and maybe the county's perspective. I think there may be some interest there. I think you should move forward with what you've said, but I would encourage you to maybe, in a way that you can, involve maybe just the president or the chair and vice chair of the board, or I don't want to damage any negotiations or slow the process, because if you have to move, you have to move. But I think it'd be wise to get at least the chair and the vice chairs buy off on how you tend to move on that.
And what I would intend on doing is bringing several options to the board. As it's purchasing of real property, we will go into closed session to discuss those.
Great. I don't want you to miss out on an opportunity too.
No.
That's really good. Okay.
All right, any other comments? All right, do you need, we've already,
Authorize the budget, so I'm good with that. Thank you very much.
all right. The next, we have the Virginia Pool Financial Program, Series 2020C Bond Arbitrage Rebate Liability.
Yes, included in your package is correspondence from Virginia Resources Authority, where the 2020C bond, which was utilized to fund the emergency spillway project, we may be liable for some arbitrage on that. And what VRA is asking for is for me to sign off on allowing them to withdraw from our account. There's SNAP accounts that those funds have been lying in. And so that's why I'm asking for authorization to proceed. At that time, it'll be November of 2025, the upcoming fiscal year, and we will have that money budgeted within there. It's just,
All right, well, I mean, there's basically,
it's where those funds had sat prior to my coming, and they were not withdrawn, even though the project had been ongoing. So I think that's what generated the arbitrage issue.
So when you have this issue, you're generating interest in your account.
Correct.
If that interest is greater than is allowable by the state, then you have an
By the federal-
arbitrage issue.
By the IRS, yes. It's a federal.
Thank you, by the IRS, and you have an arbitrage issue.
Yep.
So then you have to pay back.
The extra interest that we earned.
So we're paying back extra interest, so we are not, the yield that we're getting from interest will be much reduced from what it actually was. But are we actually losing money, or we're just not earning as much after all
We're
this?
not able to keep all of the interest the extra interest that we had earned.
Okay,
Is my way I've always understood arbitrage.
all right.
So it's not, to say it's costing us, in a way it is, if we were to have spent all of that interest with other things, yes, it would cost us. We have not spent that, so it's not not an impact to our ratepayers.
So it's a net gain in interest for us.
Yes.
Okay,
And in this current fiscal year, I had budgeted $200,000 of interest income. That is actually our funds that we have invested in the Treasury short-term pool. And as it stated in the financial statement, we will exceed that $200,000 this coming year.
okay.
All right. Any further discussion?
So the way I understand is we went out and borrowed money for a project, and we didn't spend it quick enough, so we had the money sitting in an account, and it earned interest.
Yes.
And that is contrary to the agreements of the loans, and we have to pay that money back. I'm assuming it goes to the IRS? Who does it?
That's my understanding.
Okay, and it looks like it's about 46,000?
Yes.
Okay, so we really don't have a choice in it.
No, we don't have a choice.
Not really, but I want to make the board aware of this issue.
Understood, thank
All
you.
right.
But the same note, it's not a cost to the authority.
No,
We're
the money
giving up
was-
income.
The money was earned.
Right.
We just, yeah.
Only if it had been spent.
Yeah. So,
All right. So you need authorization from us or?
Yes, I would,
Okay.
motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that the ACSA Board authorize ACSA's Executive Director to act on behalf of the authority regarding the arbitrage rebate liability due to interest earnings from West Virginia Pooled Financing Program Series VPFP 2020C bond/loan.
There's a motion on the floor by Mr. Perro. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have informational reports.
Let's see, within the report, we've already brought you up to speed on the infrastructure master plan. From that, and us having real data, I've submitted that to our financial advisors, Davenport and Company, and they're working through their performance to see what we can afford, what we need to do for rates, if we need to do anything for rates, et cetera, for all of that. Couple of big things we've been focusing on is the water withdrawal permit. It seems that DEQ, with all of their changes within staffing and all of that, they've lost some experience and are having troubles finding the data. So I've just about completed 15 years' worth of daily water withdrawal data to present to them in our next meeting on Wednesday. Hopefully that will be a good meeting. We're working really hard to keep a good relationship with DEQ through this process, because I know what the town of Amherst has been fighting, and the authority has been brought into some of that as well, is we have an interconnect. So trying to keep all of that straight and moving and cordial is the big goal. The Gateway project, previous month I reported that Mr. Morcom had to do a market analysis because they could not fit everything they wanted to on the site. That was completed on the week of the 18th. They've been reviewing it and are working on the revised layout. So they're a few weeks behind of the schedule they had given us, but it is still moving forward. Let's see, our Campbell Street project is moving forward slowly. Hopefully, a site meeting with Hurt and Profit and VDOT will resolve the confusion of how we can play within a ditch but not play it within a ditch. Seems to be the issue. We did receive, I previously reported we received our permit for West Briar, and we had been inspected by DEQ as part of the 5-year inspection. I'm pleased to report that both formal reports were received with no deficiencies. It doesn't happen very often. I've had it, in my career, I've had it 3 times previously. So congratulations to our team for all of that. Been dealing with the General Assembly matters. I reported about transfers of water within different basins. That bill was left in committee. The one that has come out of committees and being sent to the governor is mandatory reporting of any equipment failure or malfunctions that would affect the health and water quality and health of our customers. Timing is everything, but this bill actually started with Rapidan Service Authority and their no drink order that they issued a year ago because they were not forthcoming with what the issues were within their system. So when that bill is introduced and Richmond has their system failure at the same time, it kind of hurts. So the various water and wastewater agencies that we participate with, their legal counsel worked with the sponsors and came up with some language that was reasonable for us to live with. It's the right thing to do. And actually, my practice has been, if there are issues like that, I've always reached out to our health department so that they are aware, because I know that they quite often get calls on those things. I want them to be aware what's happening, what steps we have taken to address whatever the issue is, and it works very well that way, keeping a good working relationship with our regulators. I'll list the number of developments we have been working with. And then last thing is Orchard Hills Estates water system. It's a little private water system. It's a Class 6 well system, serves 28 customers. VDH they've had a number of NOVs, and a lot of them are not so much system related, but as operational, failure to complete the right samples at the right time and report things in the proper manner. Indian Health Service has secured funding to rebuild the entire system. I've actually been able to review that design. It looks very good. They've procured a contractor to do it, but VDOT gave them some number of changes that they were insisting on, which actually strengthens the system. So they're going to utilize, rather than go out for bid, they're going to use the original contract under a change order. In meeting with the Indian Health Service engineer, we talked about long-term operations of the system, and my experience is dealing with little community volunteer-operated systems has not always been successful, hence all the NOVs, and we may get asked in the future to consider accepting this into the authority's infrastructure. May, yes.
So where is this? Up 130 maybe? Where is it?
It's part of the Monacan Indian properties. I can't remember the road name exactly.
Yeah.
We're in the Cedar Gate area.
Okay, so 1, where is it? 2, how far is it from our existing lines?
If it's outside of our existing urban water area. It would be a separate standalone system that we would have to,
I understand that, but I would like to know how far it is from our existing water infrastructure
okay?
before they go and spend a bunch of money rebuilding
Well,
this.
they're having to do this. They're doing this.
I understand, but I'm not sure we want to take it over,
Okay,
all right?
I understood that, yeah.
Because do
gotcha.
we have wells anywhere else?
We do not have any well systems.
Right, and I'm not sure we want to get into having well systems. So that's just my opinion.
Okay,
But
I understand.
anyway,
And they've secured funding through the
EPA.
Indian Health Services, so, I
EPA,
mean,
Indian Health Service, yeah.
I don't know why we would operate it for them, but anyway.
all right. I believe that's it. Any questions, discussion?
One last thing to bring to your attention. Last Thursday, it was reported to us that we had a sanitary sewer overflow occurring on Williams Creek. Our staff, we were made aware of it around 2:30. We were on site by 3 and assessed the situation for access and whatever equipment we could get down in there. We got the sewer overflow stopped around 6:30. It's reported to the state and according to the rules and all of that. And we believe it was some sort of vandalism. There's a big yellow plastic dish that we found once we finally got it pumped down enough, or drawn down enough so we could actually pull out the blockage. Now, in many municipalities, and this municipality here, our system, there's a dish that goes over the manhole, underneath the manhole cover, to prevent stormwater from entering. Those dishes, and the authority standard is a very shallow dish, about 3-4 inches. It's all that's needed to keep rainwater out. This dish was at least 10 inches deep. It's not our standard. I don't know how it got down in there, but it definitely got in and blocked an 18-inch sewer main. So we were able to get it out and clean up everything. It was disinfected and cleaned up according to our policies. So, but I do want to make you aware we had that issue.
So is there any fines from that, or?
I have no idea. It's been reported. If we didn't report it, there would be. That I do know. But it was not something that, any lack of maintenance or anything like that. It was just.
Understood it, yeah.
So was it reported to the sheriff's department as a
No,
act of vandalism?
We're trying to figure out if it truly is an act of vandalism. We will be reporting it if we've determined that it is. When we were in there, it felt like we had a bunch of timbers down in there. But when we finally got through, it was this plastic dish.
And I'm having trouble picturing this pump station. Is it,
It's a gravity main.
it's a gravity main, so it's just the manhole on the gravity main and it was, okay.
The downstream outlet got blocked on the manhole.
Okay.
All right. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right, we will move on. Are there, Mr. Parrow, any issues, matters from the board?
sir.
Mr. Martin? I have none. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.